Nuclear energy, so useful and abundant, yet so dangerous and deadly. It is generally used by countries such as Korea, Japan, Russia, and America, and many, many more countries. What is nuclear energy? Nuclear energy is energy radiated from fission or fusion of a helium atom.
It is generally used to produce electricity in nuclear power plants and submarines, as well as to produce intercontinental ballistic weapons and other nuclear weaponry.
However, today we will be looking at its aspect in energy production. So, you may be asking, what is fission? Well, fission is the splitting of the nucleus into two lighter nuclei, while shooting out 2 or 3 neutrons, while also creating energy. Fusion. What is fusion? Fusion is the joining or fusing of 2 nuclei to create a heavier nucleus and energy. Now, let's take a look at how nuclear energy can affect the human health. Let's use the most popular example, cancer. Now, radiation from radioactive materials have been the main source of cancer, and most people tend to fear nuclear energy because of that belief. However, we are always exposed to radiation from everyday materials, which is better known as background radiation. There is a threshold for radiation, and scientists are currently trying to find ways to measure it. In fact, radiation is used to cure cancer. Moving on to mutations, we have always heard of a three-hand man or a mutated cow from Fukushima. But is it true? That is the real question. The answer is that it is a myth, as recent studies from Fukushima has shown. Furthermore, they have ironically found that there are more resistant animals around the Fukushima power plant,
with species such as the pale blue butterfly as well as rice seedlings developing a higher resistance towards radiation in the Fukushima zone.
Lastly, mutations still happen despite the absence of radiation, such as the Siamese twins.
Now we move on to the method of nuclear spent fuel management. Whenever a nuclear fuel is used, the waste fuel itself is still radioactive. Furthermore, it will still be radioactive for thousands of years. The first method of disposing of such waste is by burying them in 1,500 feet enclosures. This method is particularly famous in Europe, such as the Ikuluotua Island on Kala spent nuclear fuel repository. They dug a 1,500-foot burial for the fuel and placed the fuels on clay caskets and later on buried the dirt back. However, there might be potential radiation leak due to natural disasters, so this method is not very popular in Asia.
Secondly, we can give the nuclear spent fuel to someone else or some other countries, such as between Vietnam and Russia. This might seem like a good idea, as one's trash might be someone else's treasure. However, nuclear spent fuel can still be remade into nuclear weapons such as the ICBMs. The last method would be to recycle the nuclear spent fuel. This method is both environmentally and economically positive. Firstly, it costs around $1,235 to recycle 1 kilogram of NFS. Compare that to creating the Ikuluoto Island Foundation, which cost around $3.5 billion. Secondly, the nuclear fuel would continue to be recycled until its radioactivity reaches 0. Furthermore, we can reuse those NFS to create useful items such as the X-rays. Lastly, we will move on to what happens if a country decides to use nuclear energy and unforeseen circumstances does happen towards the nuclear reactor.
Firstly, due to natural disasters such as in Fukushima, the reactor meltdown was caused by an unexpected tsunami.
However, in countries like Malaysia is safe from natural disasters. Furthermore, we can learn from this accident.
From these incidents as well, we can create better and more defensive structure towards natural disaster, such as thickening the nuclear reactor walls. The second case is regarding terrorist attacks. Although groups such as ISIS or Houthi is still unconcerned with radioactive weapons, only time will tell when they resort to these weapons. So when these kinds of terrorist groups attacks, we can be prepared for their assault. These kinds of events can be handled by following the directives set by the National Security Council, particularly Directives 18 and 20. These directives states what a nation is supposed to act on upon these unexpected tragedies, such as setting up a counter-terrorist organization and further action towards the terrorists. Now we move on to the last part of the video, which is to convince the masses about the benefits of nuclear energy. Firstly, we'll start with the Muslim community. We can spread da'wah by relating that Allah is truly Ar-Rahim, as He allows us humans to harness the nuclear power. Furthermore, we can obey the words of Allah in the Quran, such as in Al-Baqarah verse 190 and Al-Qasas verse 7. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
وقاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين. Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you, but do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors. Al-Baqarah verse 190. وابتغ فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا وأحسن كما أحسن الله إليك ولا تبغ الفساد في الأرض إن الله لا يحب المفسدين. But seek through that which Allah has given you, the home of the hereafter, and yet do not forget your share of the world, and do good as Allah has done good to you, and desire not corruption in the land. Indeed, Allah does not like corruptors. Al-Qasas verse 77.
Sadaqallahul Azim. Secondly, we can teach the general public about the benefits of nuclear energy, such as by teaching them or by sharing this video. Finally, we come to a conclusion for our video. Thanks for watching and may you have a great time. Peace!